Dear listeners, welcome to Out of Office. Hi, welcome to part 2 of the LTS podcast. Remember, these podcasts are posted, the audio version at least, are posted every Tuesday of the week, unless otherwise told. And there's a video portion of this podcast that is on YouTube. So if you'd like to follow that one, follow the links in the description. So, see you then. Marcos out.
The thing that kind of screwed him over is that he would pay her to go out. No, he would pay her to go out and pick herbs and plants. So what she did is she reported to the police that she was being paid to have relationships with the guy, and there was no way of proving that wrong, even though he's a clerk. So but yeah. Who else? But yeah, I think he was the most interesting story.
What's the name of the show?
The other three, you could take a look because it's the first two episodes. I don't know. First episode would explain everything with the four guys, the four individuals.
Is it this one?
Yeah. Adventurers who don't believe in humanity will save the world. Is what it's called.
Oh, I put something else in. Whoops. Wrong thing.
Yeah, it's this
Whoops. Oh, it is?
one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know about the girl in the wire or the wire, but the four at the bottom is the crew.
Ooh, Beast Tamer. I finished Beast Tamer. We were talking about it. I also finished
delicious.
that one. What do you think? It that one had a proper closing though. I feel like one season
Beast
is
Tamer,
good.
I guess. Yeah, no, one season is definitely enough.
I'm not going to spoil it because it's still kind of fresh. So I feel like that one's a one and done for that kind of story arc. The direction, the animation was good, not bad. What else? But the story itself, for the writer, felt like this was a good way to flex his muscles and hopefully get his foot in the door into the series, into the getting more stuff animated. What else? That one, My Hero Academia. Ooh, eek, pretty intense right now. I'm 2 episodes behind because of the dubbing. It's incentivizing me to watch it sub.
Yeah.
But
It's please.
It's hard to enjoy it for my situation though, but it's pushing me to do it though.
Actually, since we mentioned Ash, they said that supposedly there's a scene in this new little. So if you don't know, there's going to be 11 episodes to kind of wrap up Ash's adventure as a Pokemon trainer and becoming the master. And in this 11 episodes, it's going to be the original crew. So it's going to be Brock and Misty joining Ash in his last get together. So allegedly there's a scene that it's one of the teasers that mentions Ash's dad coming over for a visit, and he gets excited. Finally. And then so we might see Ash's dad
Papa
coming
Ash.
up. Yeah,
No, Papa Ketchum.
turns out to be Professor Oak. I think it'll be I think it'll be really cool if it was Red,
a scientist. It has to be a scientist, personally.
No, I think it will be the icing on the cake if it turns out Ash's father was Red from the original games.
How old is Red? Isn't he technically a character in the Pokemon universe?
Well, there has been spin-off episodes, and remember, I said, he was in the original games, Red.
Pokemon Red.
Pokemon Red and Blue, and then Yellow. Yeah, right. It was Red, Blue, and Yellow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it'll be really cool. Cause remember, Gary looks like Blue. So it'd be Gary is actually, his father is Blue, and then Ash's father would be Red. I mean, that would kind of explain like how they know each other, and
Why they're rivals.
Yeah,
But it
I
was.
think that would be really
Oaks-
cool if they showed that to be, oh yeah, it turns out it was actually Red.
Notice that Professor Oaks is he his grandson, Gary?
Grandfather.
Yeah. So I'm saying
Yeah,
that
he's
Red.
Oaks' grandson. Yeah.
So I'm saying maybe that Ash's dad is a scientist doing some weird stuff with Pokemon in the wild, like catching the new stuff, like wild
Nah,
stuff.
I like it better if he, like me personally, I like it better if
He's a battler.
if it turns out that Red was his father. But we'll see. It might not even be Red or Blue. It might just be like some random character they made up.
Papa Ketchum.
Exactly.
But I'm telling you, like, where was the income for paying the house for where Miss Ash's mom lived? Like, Papa Ketchum has to have a solid job to pay for the house, even from a distance. Do you ever have
also
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
saying that the new protagonist for the new Pokemon series, because they're still going to do the Pokemon series, just without Ash.
It's
they're
a never-ending
saying-
show.
There's some theories that it might be Ash's daughter.
Who's the mom?
I don't know, probably Serena, what her name was? Yeah.
Misty.
No, Serena.
I don't, or not even at all. It's just another character.
Maybe. No, but they're saying it might be Serena because she was a love interest for Ash.
Rena?
Serena, yeah.
Ah.
It would make the most sense too.
I guess. For 10-year-olds to have a love interest, okay.
Yes.
Yes. What else? What other one? What other show? What other show?
Be like the nuts. Let's see. I mean, that's it for anime.
Anime, yeah. What else? So
And then it's been like at least 2 weeks since 2K23 started.
Happy New Year's.
You still owe me money, and interest rates have been going up.
Has it though?
Yes.
Full stop. Nah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
interest
Also,
rate, no.
talking about the government and interest rates. You saw how long it took to elect the Speaker of the House?
15
Like, how many
rounds,
votes
right?
did he do?
15 times?
15 ballots?
Yeah, 15 rounds. No, 15 voting sessions. I think it went through.
Well, so right now the new Speaker of the House is I know we don't usually talk about this, but Kevin McCarthy, and it's like we talk about this because it took usually. So at least what I've been hearing is that usually it just takes one round of voting to select a Speaker of the House. However, as Marco stated, it took 15 ballots
15
Give or
voting
take.
sessions. More or less, yeah.
to elect a Speaker of the House. So, and that hasn't happened since what? Like the early 1920s? 1950s,
Basically-
1910s even?
Can you imagine that?
What happened?
To I guess name the new Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took
Took like 2 days,
15.
no, or 2 or 3 days.
No, it took it took like a week, and they voted like 15 times.
Well, they were on vacation. They had just gotten off
Yeah.
vacation. So I mean, no one was bugging while they were on vacation. They didn't care. They were on vacation. They get in and I guess they made a big deal about 2 or 3 days, whatever the case was. But I think to Josue's point, yeah, 15 ballots. I mean, who's running? Who has majority in the House of Reps?
Now after the voting, yeah.
I
Republican.
think so, right? So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
because
so.
the new Speaker
Agree.
of the House is part of the Republican Party.
the new person, right? I think he's from Cali.
Yeah.
Well, I think the old one was from Cali too, right? Just different
Was
party.
she from New York?
Pelosi? No, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
she was from Cali.
Pelosi, both. I mean, she was from California.
she
has residence
represented
in both.
California.
Yeah, she's from
Mhm.
Cali. That's why they had such a big issue with her on the news when she went to her salon or her hairstylist while everything was closed down, like, and they were kind of saying that, oh, like, isn't that convenient or isn't that messed up? It's like she has preference or whatever the case was, and everybody else's shop was closed down. Like, I mean, I thought it was a hilarious thing. It's like people making like, I guess, pointless, discussions. Like, yo, tell these people to do their job. Like, stop butting into their like personal life. Just let them do their job.
And something about their jobs. Did you hear about Trump? How much they're charging him for the classified documents?
Well, didn't it come out that Biden had documents next to his Corvette in his garage? Like, I see no difference. I think both of them, if they're gonna get tried, they should be tried evenly. It's like
Evenly?
evenly
I'd say
in the
just
sense,
like, yeah.
evenly in the sense of like, yo, you don't give preference to either or, because then it creates that, I guess, that divide in like in the minds and the hearts of people in the country, because they don't know what to do with themselves because they have nothing better to do. Especially since, like,
It's drama.
Yeah, it's drama. It's like, I think it's hilarious
Better
because
than Twitter.
yeah, pretty much, because I think the paper, the documents that were classified in the possession of Biden was when he was a vice president, not a president. And then it's like that's more of an issue than a president having, I guess,
An ex-president.
yeah. Well, note that every president after they serve their term, they still have Secret Service with them. They still hold some
For
sort
life.
of like, yeah, exactly. So it's not like they automatically become nobodies, but I think they have a little bit more, I guess, leeway than I guess a prior vice president. So I mean, again, people are making a big issue. If people are gonna really be butthurt about it, I just think that people should try both parties or whoever they're against, like, fairly, as far as like, if you're gonna try one, try the other one as well, as far as like taking them to court, because then it just
I mean,
makes
in the
it,
sense that they were requesting it, and he's like, no. And with Biden, did he say no? That's my other question.
yeah, I don't even think they knew that they had the documents on hand until they actually requested it, or they found it in
subpoenaed
the
him.
garage. Right. So it's like, again,
They didn't even subpoena him. They just occasionally. I don't even know how it was found. Like, how's it even proven that it wasn't even planted? Yeah, that's like a whole other soap drama right there.
again, bro, like, I think people are making bigger issues than they need to be about certain things.
Very true.
Again, bro, you can be Team Trump, you can be Team Biden. Me personally,
I'm on neither. Yeah.
like, I don't like many things of both parties, and this is the reason why it's like so frustrating for me as far as like political standings and views. It's like trying to take the better pieces or better parts of both and trying to have that as a where you stand type of thing. Because, like, bro, it's like we're expecting, or the people of the US are expecting, greatness out of flawed people, and it's like you're not gonna get perfection from these
An
people, right? And it's like, dude, there's certain nuances that I would be like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense to me. But obviously, this is I guess one of the better things about a democracy to a certain extent. It's like you can vote, and then when you vote, if that vote counts as something that's going to happen, or gets like something gets passed, then you have no excuse or no one else to blame but yourself if the consequences aren't the ones, or the conclusions aren't the ones that you want, right? So, like, say as an example, it's like they're trying to do the new Green Deal, right? And it's like they want to get down to net zero, right? Carbon emissions. Yeah, so it's like, all right, on paper it sounds great. In order for you to do that, you have to rework the whole infrastructure of the United States in order for that to be possible. Which means you have to use
It's propaganda.
big machinery that uses diesel fuel in order for
It's
you
propaganda,
to dig out the raw materials from the earth to make new type of batteries in order for you to try to run the whole infrastructure on it with solar panels and windmills and so on paper it sounds great. Trying to do it though, it's not plausible. We're not at that
Currently,
stage.
no way. Agree.
Right? So
Agree.
again, it might seem like a great idea, and it is, but we have to kind of work our way towards it, right? And 4 years isn't enough time for the president to get all that done, and then pat him or herself on the back to to try to make it seem like it was all his forte, idea, dream, and it's great and all, but it's like at that point you're just pandering to the people that are throwing money at you at some point.
You're clickbaiting.
Yeah, because I think one of the bigger problems is like the people that buy, I guess you can say, your vote, right? So lobbyists, people that go out of their way to throw money at you so that you get fully funded for your political onslaught of attacking your enemies and making yourself or getting more views from the public and then getting voted in, and then you owe that person a favor, right? So it can be big pharma, it can be whatever industry that wants to throw money at you. So I think those are the things that we really should be concerned about more than if you have papers in your garage or if you had papers in Mar-a-Lago. Like, those are big issues, but bro, when you have other countries trying to or letting listen, we're trying to take over and be number one in the world, and it's like, bruh, why are we? But
this is assuming they're not. This is assuming that the U.S. isn't constantly improving itself. The drama is just drama, like theater and what is it, circus and bread? The saying,
but
just make the public entertained and keep them fed.
And the pudding, though, Marcos, right? Like,
the numbers.
How far along are we in I want to say STEM, right? In the universities, like we are not number one.
But then there's the whole economical growth.
Well, who's number one in semiconductors?
Taiwan.
Right, that's nowhere in the U.S., right?
Which one's the largest economy in the world?
Right now, as a consumer, not as a producer. Consumer would be the U.S., which means we're not producing. We're just borrowing because that's how our economy works. And that's the unfortunate
and unfortunately also GDP isn't a good example because it's a mixture of things like also like what country has the largest immigration into its country, that's a whole, these are big subjects. So me just talking cursory is just it's just me like an example. For example, money wise, like the president just approved freaking $7 trillion or $7 billion for the whole thing that's going on. And like Ukraine. What we have, we all of us are paying for that. Like I understand, like this is
the weird part, Marcos. Like, all right, we can say, all right, Zelensky came through, he went into Congress, and he demanded that we the people of the United States give him X amount of billions or trillions of dollars in order to fund this ongoing onslaught of a war, which makes no sense because it has nothing to do with us in one sense. It has will do it with us when it comes to like producing certain or getting certain natural resources from that country. But at the same time, it's like the U.S. is so rich in natural resources that we can be self-sufficient. But this Green New Deal kind of
wants to be green. It wants to be green.
So it
imports everything.
Here. It wants to be green here, but doesn't want to be green over there where it doesn't. You don't see it. I guess you can, right? Say it.
But we're helping their economy. We're helping their economy.
BS, right?
Yes, sir. I agree.
Because it's insane to think that we're gonna let a person that isn't a citizen of the United States come through go into Congress and demand, a crazy amount, ludicrous amount of money.
Demand or plea?
Right, and
did he
then,
demand?
and then he called. Yeah, that's what he did. and then he called it an investment. Like we're investing.
That
like
sucks. That sucks.
that's not an investment.
That's
at all.
grimy. But I understand. I mean,
and then it's going to come out of our taxpayer money, right? So instead of going into the infrastructure, right, of making our bridges better, our roads better, our police departments better, any sort of like internet type of security for our government better, making the DMV better, making the post office
this
better.
is assuming they're not investing on it. Like they're all. I mean, those $3 billion could have gone to it, but it was allocated to something else. I agree. Yeah.
Right. So and then
into internal improvement.
Right. It could have gone towards something that would be way more beneficial for us as U.S. citizens than a country that is on an ongoing onslaught of war with its neighboring country, which 2 minutes ago they were part of the same country, and a lot of overlap goes on in those two countries because a lot of family members are from either or those two countries, because at some point they were part of the same country, right? And like
Politics,
right? And let's not forget, like after the fact that going on, it's like, bro, we tend to get, I guess, sidetracked from issues that don't really matter to us, and instead of like us, what we were talking like a couple of minutes ago, it's like, unfortunately the US isn't number one in many things. I think one of the biggest things we're number one is how big, vast, and powerful our military is. That's
economic outreach too.
We have the most U.S. Army bases in other countries than any other country has on the earth, right? And then as far as our economy, the reason we have like such a great, or I guess you can say in parentheses, right, a great economy is because we're the world reserve currency. And there's a lot of places that are hurting right now in the world.
The Indian country that went bankrupt. What's
a lot of different places have gone bankrupt.
Sri Lanka or something like that? No.
I think it was in Sri Lanka, or it was somewhere in that
an island
area that people were outraged and they were revolting against the government because they didn't have anything. Like they didn't have, I believe it was food or whatever the case was, energy. And it's really difficult because being that China is one of the biggest populations on the earth, second to, I think, second would be
India.
Yeah, India is on the come up. They're developing in a lot of ways, and they have a lot of people in that country. And it's like China looks at India, and I'm pretty sure they get scared because if they ever figure out a way to not only industrialize quicker and get to their level, India easily would probably take over, or could potentially take over China, not only in industries but also in manufacturing, and obviously in their in their culture, taking over little by little. And the US is friendly with India, and I think that's a good thing.
I got the website over here. The as of the 2022 roundup of the just GDP, and let's see, number one, the GDP, just in numbers, because this is a super simplified picture, okay? But just with the numbers to complement your point. The US 20.89 trillion, China 14.72 trillion, Japan 5.06 trillion. Germany 3.85 trillion. Oh my God. UK 2.67, India 2.56, France 2.65, and Italy 1.89, Canada 1.64, South Korea top 10 1.63. So all of the top 10, well, for 9 of them, Obviously, China right now is still doing market with the U.S., but it's pretty ridiculous. Nobody breaks double digits after
Right.
China and the U.S. They're in the double digits, and they're in the U.S. is and technically, U.S. and every other country, obviously a lot. The U.S. went down. It used to be 21.0 something trillion, so it went down a couple billion dollars. And note, everything is in dollars,
Right. That and again that makes sense. So like, all right,
and they're
let's
all allies.
I mean, I guess you can say they're allies to a certain degree when it comes to commerce, but they're not allies when it comes to political views,
Japan and the
um,
U.S.
cultural.
Yeah.
Against the. I guess culturally, they're not on the same page to a certain extent, which dictates much of their politics and
The unit, yeah.
and how that affects geopolitical issues around the world. And just to try to like wrap it up a little bit, basically it's like, all right, there's two situations that I see. It's like the way, and I kind of understand why it is, and like I'll give you my brief elevator pitch of why that is.
Napkin math, yeah.
Yes. So basically, when I believe it was President Trump was in office, he basically did a bunch of tariffs on China, and this created a bottleneck situation where a lot of it manufacturing was kind of limited to what was supposed to be what could be bought and sold and traded, and the prices were going to be fixed or taxed at a higher level. So people from the US were kind of like I guess urged or pushed, I guess you can say, or nudged to buy American made,
Influenced.
right? American made, which I think is a good thing. We should bring manufacturing, not all of manufacturing, but a good chunk of manufacturing should be produced here in the US, because I think that's helpful to create a stronger economy for the US as a whole. Now, what this creates is that now the issue with that we were talking about earlier, where you have countries that aren't as friendly as other countries are to the US. To name a few would be people like China, Russia, people from like South Africa, perhaps, and I believe there was another country, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Saudi
Venezuela.
Arabia, of course. But I'm talking about the bigger economic powers that are in cahoots, I guess you can call it, right?
They have their own alliance, if you will.
Right, they have their own alliance of like 4 or 5 countries where they're trying to get off the dollar and trade amongst themselves. In
Iran, China, Russia, and I forgot the fourth one.
I think it was South Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Belarusia or Belarusia.
Belarus. I don't think Belarus is one, but I do believe it's like a Middle Eastern country, Russia, China, and I believe South Africa.
Saudi Arabia, I think.
Right? So these countries are trying to trade with each other with anything other than dollars, right? So they might use rubles, they might use Chinese. I don't know their denomination, but their currency,
Rubles, yuan,
right?
dollar.
So I think those type of currencies, and or I believe gold or oil, right? They're trying to figure out a way to do some sort of trade between each other that way, right? So I don't know if you guys have heard, right? And I'll give you this second part. So that's a situation in itself, right? So the U.S. has to, and its allies have to contend or fight against this type of situation, because a lot of these countries still owe a lot of money in dollars to the U.S. because they're using our dollar, right? So right now what's happening is that in certain parts of the world there's inflation, and in the U.S. you start seeing this weird type of deflation in certain things, because dollar is getting stronger against other currencies.
The Japan one, it was the Japan one, remember?
And remember, Japan has negative interest rates, so right now it got a little better, but it's nowhere near the bottom, I guess you can call it. And it might start getting even worse for them because they have two choices to make. They either forsake their currency or forsake their banking system, right? So they don't want either, but I'm pretty sure they rather forsake their currency, which has happened before in other places in the world at different eras, before they sacrifice their banking system. And that's an issue, at least for them, right? But not to go too crazy off topic, let me just say this, and I'll end it. We can switch up the topic if you guys want.
I like talking about this.
So,
but continue.
About 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, towards the beginning of the year, of this new year of 2023, if I'm not mistaken, or it might have been, I'm pretty sure it was like last week, a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
The president of the United States, Joe Biden, went down to Mexico, not only the border, but to Mexico City, where he met up with the president of Mexico, AMLO, and also joining them was the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, where they had talks and discussions about I guess you can say, this new year and how they were going to go forward, not only as three different countries, but combined as I guess you can call it a North American front to what's going on around the world, as far as like how
an alliance.
Yes, as far as how we can all kind of work together, basically invest in each other and be self-sufficient on this North American continent, basically. So a lot of this stems from certain things that were happening down in South America, where there was countries that had struck links, I guess you can say, veins of lithium in their countries. And basically what happens is that a lot of countries are trying to stake claims to those lithiums because they're, in order for them to make batteries, they'll be able to I guess prosper, and they can get other raw or resources or natural resources to make chips for in their semiconductor companies. And this is startling to find out that one of these countries, besides Bolivia or Peru or Chile or Argentina, I believe, another country that has lithium that previously didn't know they had lithium is Mexico. Up by the Sonoran Desert, they found a crazy amount of vein of lithium. Now, there's what's it called, the semiconductor company from Taiwan, the biggest one, coming over to Arizona to set up shop. That wasn't enough. You have Samsung coming into Texas like it did last year, setting up shop too. And a lot of this will, I guess you can say, speed up the development and the growth of Mexico, and it will start becoming a manufacturing place for the United States and Canada. So essentially what Canada and the US were basically talking with the president of Mexico is how we can work together as a team to bring a lot of these manufacturing jobs over to this part of the world, on this continent, in order for them to benefit and grow and not be in not only an isolated situation, but a vulnerable situation where we depended solely on China or other countries for certain goods and services that we can probably produce. No, we can produce better here on this side of the globe than in others, just because we have the know-how and we have the manpower, I guess you can call it, right? And the interesting thing about that is that everybody's going to keep their autonomy as far as being sovereign in each country, but they worked out a system. It's not perfect, but it seems to be that they've worked out something that is going to benefit all three countries. Now, this is besides the political BS that goes on from time to time. But one of the things that happened because of this was that in order for the U.S., mainly Canada to some degree, but mainly the U.S., in order for them to invest in Mexico, to put manufacturing companies here or invest in Mexico in some way, shape, or form, they want Mexico to get cleaned up. So, the problem with
Political stuff.
no, not just political stuff, more so with fentanyl, right? The crops and
The pharmaceutical part. Yep.
narcos, right? So
Yeah. The thing with the what's this guy's name that just got captured like a few weeks ago?
El
days
Chapo's
ago?
son, Ulrich,
Yeah.
was captured, detained, captured, and taken out. In a sense of like,
Extradited.
right. He was taken out, and they're starting to do cleanup control in a lot of the states of Mexico that are heavily in conjunction with narco activities. So President AMLO is cleaning up a lot of these places, and obviously it's going to look bad before it looks good. But he's already made great strides with the military force down in Mexico. So the second part to this is that a lot of infrastructure construction has been going on down there. So you have things like El Tren Maya, you have things like the port over there by Islas Mujeres. You have the new airport down in Mexico City. So a lot of these things, or a lot of these constructions, are for Mexico, by Mexico, and it's creating a lot of jobs. So I just to finish it up,
Is it like a trade agreement or something? No.
Yeah, it helps with trade agreement because now you can have stuff shipped from one part of the continent to another part of the continent, and there's less, I guess, friction. It's a lot more seamless, a lot more easier to do. And this is all due to the fact that Mexico is investing in itself, and other countries like the US and Canada are investing now in Mexico as far as getting their manufacturing done.
There you go.
Getting TVs, fridges, cars, dryers, washers, stoves. Like, these things are now going to be manufactured here. Batteries, lithium batteries for electric cars or electric vehicles will be produced and made in Mexico, and then sold to places in the US, Canada, and also Mexico, and perhaps other places, right?
In the world, probably. Yeah.
Exactly. So what you're probably going to start seeing is the come up of Mexico to a certain degree. Right now, I think it's like 18 pesos and 77 cents per dollar.
Checking the numbers as we speak.
So I believe that people were saying, "Oh, the peso is gonna default, and it's gonna be like 25 pesos per dollar." And
1877. Yep.
Yeah, quite the opposite. It's actually gotten stronger. It's now 1877 pesos per dollar, and for
as of the
our
recording,
listeners, I guess, for our listeners, it might jump back up to maybe 19, right? I'm not sure. Very volatile. Things like this are volatile. But one thing is for certain, we're going to start seeing the middle class in Mexico start moving up, and the lower class also moving up out of poverty into hopefully the middle class. And you're going to see like a roaring 20s probably type of scenario out in Mexico.
A tech roaring 20s, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's going to be something to behold, because now you might have Mexico on a level playing field with both Canada and the US in a lot of ways, not just education, but also technology, and having resources to get them to that first world type of playing field, right? Which is a good
political leverage too, as well.
Right, because you have other countries trying
migration, all those things.
Funny enough, a lot of people during COVID started digital nomad lifestyles, and they didn't go to Canada, they didn't go to the US, they went to Mexico. A lot of them went to
the top
Mexico.
3, yes, yeah.
And I guess one of the issues that people were seeing is like it kind of went reverse, right? A lot of people in the US, we don't want more, immigrants coming through. When now, I guess
Mexico was having that issue.
Yeah, he's like, we don't want
Well,
any more
it's always
people.
been having that, unfortunately.
Right. So, I mean, these are like, I guess you can say, the bullet points of, or the highlights of what's been going on in like the last 3 or a couple of months, from November, December, and part of January right now, like things that have been in the work. And it's super interesting, I think, at least. And it might be something that people like our listeners might want to check up on, and definitely plan accordingly as far as like, what's your year looking like, whether you be in investments or whether you be in, just checking the financial markets, or, social political situations or geopolitical situations at large. So I thought that was super interesting. I wanted to share it with you guys, and yeah, like going and just to like cut it off right here, like
Hold up, let me talking about that, like you're saying, yo, check this out. What the heck? It's the global debt tracker.
Oh yeah, it's all red, isn't it?
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Right now the top debt, the current national debt for the US is 31,490,872, I think it's $31 billion. And it can't be, it needs to be, it has to be more. I can't, numbers are hard. 31 trillion? No,
I'm pretty
31
sure
billion. It's lower compared to and it has the GDP growth on the green.
Yeah, we're
So
nowhere
we're technically
near.
31, 25, 26, 10. Okay, continue. Sorry, I'll run the numbers. Continue.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're nowhere near paying off that debt, right? Because as soon as we pay off that debt, it kind of makes, well, I guess you can say a lot of countries would go bankrupt before full countries go bankrupt before we ever finish paying off that debt, because we would have to basically charge people that use our currency, and it's a debt-based system. So this is the reason
it's 31 billion.
Right,
$31 billion and $25 billion as of right now in
right.
In
And this is the reason why every so often the
$6
U.S.
billion
government,
in the
right, the U.S.
$6 billion.
government raises the debt ceiling in order for us to, I guess you can say, kick the can down the road and make it seem like, oh, nothing's happening, don't worry about it, keep living alone. And that's an issue, because at some point that might pop. And yeah,
it might, doesn't mean that it will, but at the same time it's a looming cloud.
You would be hard pressed to, you would probably find a lot of economists say it's just a matter of time. It's not if
anything's a matter of time, though.
No, but
anything is a matter of time.
It's more of the situation. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So
of course.
So that's where people are at right now, right? Especially economists or people that follow money. They're like, it's not an issue of if, it's a matter of when. And when that happens,
they don't have a when though.
Well, the thing is that we see it like a Japan, like we were mentioning it before, like the euro, where a lot of countries might, and this is just speculation on some people speculate, right, that are in this world, that a lot of the countries will back out of the euro and start going back to their own sovereign currencies. And we might see how it hashes out, and there might be some countries that fully go on bankrupt and can't pay their end. Like a Weimar Republic.
I feel like due to the Russia situation, anyone that's in NATO, they're like, we don't want to leave NATO because we got the backing. Literally, because there's like a, what you mean? I want to say a bully. I want to say like someone else, not scared of inflicting violence. They're like, let's just stay with the devil we know. Unfortunately, that's my hot take.
But this is I think this is not weird thing, but this is one of the situations that countries that are in NATO are in NATO. There's countries that want to be in NATO. They have to apply in order for them to be, I guess, absorbed into NATO or be part of NATO. But there's a treaty that was signed, I believe, between Russia and the
Washington
US,
Treaty,
where there's no more applications that will be accepted for countries that want to go into NATO, because I think one of the reasons why why it was like this is because Russia doesn't want NATO countries next to it, because it'd be really
the USSR.
yeah, it would be really easy for the US to put a US base there and be essentially closer to Russia as far as being able to retaliate to any, I guess, attacks from Russia to the
Both
US,
sides.
right? So yeah, this is the reason why it was a real problem for the US when Kennedy was president, when Cuba became
Oh, the
communist.
60s.
Right,
Yeah.
and you had the Cuba Missile Crisis, right? So this is a situation where you have a communist country, Cuba, that was getting warheads from its communist friends like Russia, and basically it's like right there by Florida, right? It's close enough to be in the backyard of the U.S., and that was something that people did not like. So I mean, those are the things, again, off track. Yeah, so I would say these are the situations that maybe people should look into a little bit more than, like, I guess, the nonsense that we tend to see with this whole like charade or horse and dance, right?
The soap opera.
Yeah, of I guess you can say Republicans and Democrats, right? Like, mind you, just trying to be, like, I guess, as least biased as possible. I would say
Found the document.
right, looking at policy, I guess trying to make sense of policy would probably be a better idea. Like, what makes sense to pass, right? You know, sometimes we hear something and we think it sounds dope, it sounds nice, it sounds kind, but sometimes kind isn't what we need. Sometimes it's a little bit more nuanced or less nuanced even, and I think we overcomplicate certain things, or we don't know essentially what could be the repercussions
If we did the right play.
right, or
Until it
more than
happens,
anything,
yeah.
the wrong play, because
No,
it's
no.
like,
If we did the right play, but or if we did the wrong play after the play has been done, this
right,
was wrong.
like, yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I tend to remember.
It's too easy to. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to remember taxes are unconstitutional. This is the reason why there was a Boston Tea Party, right? No, no taxation without
Taxation
representation.
without representation.
Right, and then it's like we pay so much in taxes. Where does it really all go to, right? And that's just a quick little, I guess,
Fruit for thought.
yeah, little example, some food for thought, where you can think about it. It's like there's certain things that kind of start asking yourself, maybe I should start, if you vote, there's people that don't even vote, they could care less, right? So maybe for the people that do, maybe start looking at the policies, people that are spewing out their mouths. A lot of times both parties are ass, and it's just
Agreed.
because it's like, dude, at that point it's like, do you really want to vote for the lesser of two evils? It's like, I don't want to vote for any of them. They're both trash. So I mean, that's just a couple of things that you would want to, like, just keep in mind, right? And those are the things that I want to share with you guys because I thought they were interesting, and I think it's something we should keep an eye on during this next, rest of the year. And yeah, I mean, how about that One Piece movie, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir. Or the
I was
slime
gonna say
movie.
we can. I was gonna say we could call it for tonight.
Oh,
I'm okay with it. I'm good. So I put in like a bunch of things that we're talking about. Obviously, this is going to be on Discord for this episode. So dear listeners, be patient with us. This is the first time using this software. But, hopefully we'll just get good. And remember, this is an out of office and no, just, no, there's no guidelines. We're just, talking from our minds over here. And don't take it as gospel. We're just talking about subjects. Nothing fancy, yeah. We're not running for presidency or anything like that.
No, not at all.
Like, are we?
What else?
No, but yeah.
But yeah,
Mr.
what
J,
else? Remember,
24.
follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. There's a playlist of this podcast. Okay.
Yo, and before
Anything else,
we go
guys?
off, yeah, one more thing. For listeners, we have, I want to say, stacked rest of the year. We have a couple of exciting special guests that are going to make some cameos on the podcast. We've been trying really hard to find more special guests. So I do hope you look forward to it. Please stay tuned and obviously interact with us on all our social media. And yeah, get ready for all these new surprises. And I hope us three and the listeners are ready for this year to kick off right.
Amen. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Okay. There you go. So yeah. So remember, this is Marcos. I've been this is your host for this episode, followed by Alan.
Yoo-hoo.
And Mr. J. So yeah, remember guys, enjoy your evening, enjoy your day, enjoy your morning. Marcos out.
Peace.